Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
Now at 8:30, 2 Lexington men are recovering from a shooting last night. We'll have a full report coming up.
Plus, the Franklin County Sheriff says investigators found some dangerous items in trick-or-treat bags.
And it's just 2 days now till Election Day, and WKYT sits down with both Allison Lundergan-Grimes and Mitch McConnell. These stories and more, plus breaking news as it happens, coming up on WKYT this morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Moody.
And I'm Whitney Wetzel. It is Sunday, November 2nd. Hope you're enjoying this chilly Sunday morning.
It is chilly. I wasn't ready. I walked outside, saw the windshield, and was like, all right, here we go. It's here.
We certainly didn't ease into these temperatures that are in the 20s this year.
Not at all. We're going to go straight to Mike Linden now to look at that weather.
Hey, that extra hour of sleep might have helped as daylight saving time came to an end at 2 because it is cold outside to say the least. So if you are going to be outside this morning, remember to bundle up. A look outside right now, beautiful skies, but that's part of the reason as to why things are so cold this morning. A freeze warning still in effect for another half an hour here until 9 o'clock for most of Kentucky. So here's what I'll be talking about in my full forecast about 10 minutes from now. A cold and dry afternoon is ahead of this cold and dry start to our day, but some big changes are on the way for the next few days, including a nice little warm up and some midweek weather that could set us up for another cold weekend next weekend. So I'll be back in about a few minutes with my full forecast.
All right, Mike, thank you. In the news this morning, Lexington police are investigating a shooting that happened late last night.
This morning, police are trying to figure out what led to the shooting. WKYT's Mark Barber is live at UK Hospital with that top story this morning. Mark?
Good morning, Sean and Whitney. Investigators say 2 men who were shot in the arm and the shoulder were rushed here to UK Hospital after they flagged down a police officer directing traffic for the Garth Brooks concerts. Now, investigators believe that the men were shot near Charles Avenue and Oak Street around 9:30 last night. Police say one of the men then walked several blocks to Main Street and Newtown Pike, where he got help from an officer directing traffic for the Garth Brooks shows. Now, officers tell us the gunshot victim led them back to Jefferson Street, where another man with a gunshot wound was sitting in a vehicle that had been sprayed with bullets. According to investigators, one of the men was shot in the arm and a bullet grazed the other man's shoulder. Now, officers say at this time they don't know who shot the men and why they were shot. Of course, we'll continue to keep following the story, and we'll bring you the latest information here on WKYT News and on our website, WKYT.com. Live here in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. Authorities in 2 central Kentucky counties had to respond to 2 different vehicle fires. Lexington police say it was a car thief that caused a car to catch on fire just before 11 o'clock last night. It happened on a service road near I-64. Police say the driver was doing donuts in the parking lot when the car caught on fire. The driver then ran away. Investigators say they later found out the car was actually stolen after tracking down its owner. No arrests or injuries have been reported in that case.
And in Richmond, officials at the sheriff's office say a man is in jail this morning after crashing his car while driving drunk. Investigators say he was speeding down Crooksville Road at around 1:30, flipped his car several times. Then they say the car caught fire. Investigators say he got out and told them he was drunk. He was then arrested and charged with driving under the influence. Authorities say the man was not hurt.
Lexington police are searching for a man who robbed a tobacco store. Around 9 o'clock last night, they say the robber walked into the Up in Smoke store off East New Circle, handed the clerk a note that said he had a weapon, demanded cash, and then took off. Police only have limited details on his description. Lexington police are also looking for a man who robbed a video game store. Police say a man with a gun walked into the GameStop on New Circle Road yesterday and demanded cash. They say he then ran out and got into a car nearby after the cashier gave him some money. Police only have a limited description of that suspect as well. If you have any information about either of these, call Lexington Police.
Some kids in Franklin County got more of a trick than a treat this weekend. The sheriff says his deputies found pocket knives and a couple of Halloween bags Friday night. Deputies were scanning bags of candy for kids at the courthouse downtown. The Franklin County sheriff says his deputies found the pocket knives inside bags of 2 trick-or-treaters who'd been knocking on doors in Lawrenceburg.
Was there any ill intent? No. But when you got little kids and you got toddlers, you know, anything could happen. And that's probably not an appropriate thing to hand out on Halloween to kids.
The sheriff says they scanned trick-or-treat bags for more than 50 families.
The Mason County Sheriff's Office is investigating the death of an inmate at the detention center. According to the Ledger Independent, 27-year-old Audrey Fulton died Friday while in medical isolation at the facility. Fulton was there for drug addiction detoxification. So far, no charges have been filed. Someone cut a delivery driver's job short Saturday morning. Police say a Jimmy John's driver was making a delivery along Foreman Avenue in Lexington. When he came back to his car, it wasn't there. Officers were able to track the car down. They found it parked at Broadway in Maine. Police arrested Joel Aker for DUI, driving on a suspended license, and receiving stolen property. Police say Aker told officers he thought the car was his uncle's before driving away.
The Laurel County Sheriff's Office started off the month with Operation November to Remember to help fight drug trafficking. Deputies and London City police officers arrested 24 people Saturday morning. They're all now facing various illegal drug trafficking and possession charges. The arrests are part of a 3-month undercover investigation, and they say more arrests are expected as the roundup continues. Well, we sure hope you got an extra hour of sleep last night. Daylight saving time came to an end at 2 o'clock this morning. Clocks go back 1 hour today, and fire officials say you should also take today to switch out batteries in your smoke detectors.
This is the 4th year on record that Lexington has had snow before November 1st. Some parts of the state saw more than 2 inches. According to the National Weather Service, the last time central Kentucky had Halloween snow was in 1954 with 1/10 of an inch. It was the second and final night of Garth Brooks concerts at Rupp Arena last night. Concert goers braved both the cold and the traffic to catch Garth Brooks on stage. A lot of folks showed up early to the second show, which helped them beat some of the traffic, especially after the first show ended. It also helped them find a parking spot. Many came quite a ways for this show.
I'm a big Garth fan. I came from Van Buren, Missouri, in southeast Missouri. We left about 10 o'clock this morning and drove over. I saw him 3 times before, but it's worth the trip.
Those 4 shows were expected to bring more than 80,000 people into downtown Lexington.
With the election now just 2 days away, the candidates for Senate are making their final push to increase voter turnout. Senator Mitch McConnell spent yesterday in Mount Sterling and Georgetown. Allison Lumbergan Grimes was in Lexington and Northern Kentucky. Both candidates are pushing for change. McConnell is banking on Republicans taking over the Senate and naming him the majority leader. Grimes wants to take McConnell's Senate seat. Both candidates were in Central Kentucky yesterday for rallies.
And there's nobody the president wants to beat worse than me. And nobody I want to have a bad night Tuesday night more than him.
He doesn't have a plan for the future. He doesn't have a vision that's for me or for you, because our senator, bought and paid for by the millionaires and billionaires, that's all he's been looking out for.
Tonight, be sure to watch Kentucky Newsmakers for an hour-long special edition featuring interviews with both Grimes and McConnell. That'll be on the CW Lexington at 6:30. Grimes is also busy with a lawsuit against McConnell. Our partners at the Herald Leader report Grimes' Senate campaign filed a lawsuit that says McConnell's campaign mailed out flyers like this. They say those flyers are aimed at suppressing voter turnout on Tuesday. Grimes' campaign says they're asking authorities to investigate whether or not the flyers violated state and federal campaign laws. The flyer is labeled as a, quote, election violation notice, and it warns readers that Grimes has tried to deceive voters. Grimes' campaign manager says it's an attempt to keep people from the polls. A Kentucky GOP spokesperson says the flyers merely hold Grimes accountable for what they call blatant falsehoods.
It is 8:37, and still to come, it's November, but that doesn't mean you should start selling your shares of pumpkin spice just yet. The business may just stick around. We'll have that story after the break.
And it is cold as we get started this morning because there's just not any cloud cover out there. But what does that mean for your Sunday afternoon? I'll show you coming up.